are happy to introduce our today's webinar speaker, that is Mr. Gowtham. Gowtham has been awarded as MVP by Microsoft for his exceptional contribution in Microsoft technologies under the category Developer Technology for the year 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019. He has more than 6 years of experience on Microsoft technologies such as C#, ASP.NET, MVC, ASP.NET, Web API, ASP.NET Core, and Azure. He also working for NOS Infosystem as a technical lead. So if you have any question during this presentation, please type them into the Q&A session. So we will have the time for questions at the end. Now without further, we will turn the time over to Mr. Gowtham. So Gowtham, please.
Yeah, thank you, Arangala ma'am, and as well as thank you, Deepak, for a great keynote and a great short talk about a community. And first of all, I'm sorry guys for the delay, and I really want to thank you for your patience. Yeah. Okay. Hello all, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you all around the world.
Sorry for interrupt, Gautam. Can you share your screen?
Yeah. 1 second. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Anbu. And my warm welcome to you all for our first episode of this series. Let's explore .NET. And here we go. And this is my agenda for today. Like what is .NET and what is .NET framework and what are the benefits of using the .NET framework. Then .NET framework compilation process, which is a very important one where you will get a basic knowledge on how the application which are written in different language get compiled, and what is .NET Core and what are the advantage of using the .NET Core over the .NET framework. Then comes the Visual Studio IDE, where you will get a basic idea of the IDE, like how to download, install, and creating your first project or application using the IDE and some of its features. And then we are going to have a demo on getting started with Hello World app. Then finally, we are going to learn about what is IIS. It's nothing but a Microsoft Web Server software, which is used to deploy your web application in Windows. Okay, with that, let me start. What is .NET? And .NET, it is nothing but a developer platform made up of tools, and programming language, and libraries to develop different type of applications. As well as like it has a various implementation of like .NET Framework and .NET Core and Xamarin or Mono, where .NET Framework is mostly used to develop applications like Windows application, web applications, like that. And however, that .NET Framework, it ships as a part of the Windows operating system, and as well as it also be installed with the standalone setup. Then comes the .NET Core. It is the open source framework which is used to develop web, Windows application and services, and it is a cross-platform where it can run in Linux, Windows, as well as a Mac OS. And then a Xamarin, which is used to develop a mobile applications, as well as a Xamarin also a cross-platform where you can develop application, mobile application for Android, iOS, and Windows as well. And here comes what is .NET Framework. .NET Framework, it's originally a implementation of .NET. Like it supports running websites, service, desktop apps, and more on Windows. So this is a keynote like Windows. It only runs on Windows OS. And then it can work with several programming languages such as C#, VB.NET, F#, and a few dozens others that we are going to see what are the language going to be supported based on the list which is there in the Visual Studio IDE. So later we are going to explore it. And with that, my next topic is .NET Framework compilation. So this is the picture of the complete .NET Framework compilation process. Like, see, basically, while developing an application, it's up to you what are the language you're going to use to develop application. So basically, while going with the .NET Framework, most of the people will use C#. And once you've written a code in C# and somehow while building your application, it need to be compiled, right? And this is the compilation process which is run behind in .NET Framework. So like it is going to use, for example, if I'm using C# code to develop my application, then it will use a C# compiler to compile my code. Yeah, compile my code to common intermediate language. See, common intermediate language is also called Microsoft Intermediate Language, or else just an intermediate language. So basically, what it will do, it will uh, it will compile a user-written code into some kind of intermediate language. Okay, so that it can be processed to CLR. So it's a common language runtime. Basically, CLR will use the JIT compiler. It's called a just-in-time compiler, where it compiles the code, the intermediate language code, into a machine code. So this is the basic compilation process which runs behind while building your application. I hope you understand this flow, because this is really important. And if you have any question, you can stop me at any time so that I can explain it in depth. So with that, I'm just going to .NET Core. So as I already said, like .NET Core, it is a cross-platform implementation of .NET, where it supports running website, like creating a websites and microservices and console apps on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. So it is completely an open source platform. It is on GitHub also, and it is optimized for high performance and scalability. So with that point, I just need to compare this .NET Core with the .NET Framework. Initially, I think on 2002, Microsoft came with .NET Framework, where people used to develop a web forms and a Windows application like that. And this is the .NET Framework Core, which they recently launched. I think it's around 4 years or 5 years back, and currently the latest version is .NET Core 3.1, which is completely revamped from .NET Framework. And it's completely optimized. What is it like? It's 10 times faster than .NET Framework. So as of now, in an industry, for example, even I'm working as a software engineer, and in our company, we have written a application using a .NET Framework. And right now, because of this .NET Core performance, we are migrating all our .NET Framework application into .NET Core application. So with that, uh, I will put a note like it has a large benefit in performance and scalability while comparing with the .NET Framework. And this is a clear picture of multiple platforms, the .NET Framework and .NET Core and the Xamarin. And with the .NET Framework Core, where you can develop a WPF application and Windows Form, as well as the ASP.NET web applications. And using .NET Core, where you can develop a UWP, it's a Universal Windows Platform application, and ASP.NET Core web applications, and Xamarin, which is used to develop iOS, Android, and Xamarin Forms Mac application, Xamarin for Mac. Xamarin is completely used for developing a mobile application. And here comes the base libraries, because this is the core of all the platforms. Like it is called as .NET standards. It's collection of class libraries, nothing but a class libraries, For .NET Framework, it is called as .NET Framework class library. And for .NET Core, it's called as Core FX class library. And for Xamarin, called as the Mono class libraries. So libraries, what is meant by a libraries? Libraries, what is it? It's collection of predefined code. That's pretty simple. Like it's collection of predefined code where you can reuse across all these platforms. So this is a what to say. This is the strength of the .NET standards, where you can easily migrate your .NET Framework core .NET Framework into .NET Framework core using these class libraries. Okay, and all these platforms will going to have a common infrastructures like compilers, languages, and runtime component. With that, I'm jumping into Visual Studio IDE. So Visual Studio IDE, it is the application development tool. Basically, it is used to develop multiple applications like web, Windows, as well as mobile applications. And it supports different programming language like C Sharp, C, C++, F Sharp, VB.NET, JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, and so on, many more. Some of the features of Visual Studio are like write your code fast and debug, diagnose with ease, and collaborate efficiently. And we are going to explore all these features one by one with our demo. And where you can download a Visual Studio, you can just Google search as Visual Studio, and you can find multiple edition of a Visual Studio. Like it has the community edition and professional edition and the enterprise edition. Community edition is completely free and it is open source, where you can freely download and install and you can explore it. And where professional and enterprise is paid one. So I strongly recommend you guys to download the community edition. As initial stage of learning, it is good to explore the things using this community edition. And later, while developing the application in enterprise level, I think you can go with the professional and enterprise edition. And with this, guys, do you have any doubt on these topics before jumping into the demo?
Actually, few questions is bro. So can I ask one by one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll plan finally. We'll ask question session last. Okay, no problem. So what is
No,
the
with
need of
that, yeah. What is the need of .NET?
Yes.
Okay. So as I said, .NET, it's up to you. Like, suppose if you're thinking about developing a application, and preferring a .NET is completely is based on a requirement and the knowledge which you already have on Microsoft technology like that. Suppose if I'm good in a C# language, I already know about C# language. Anyhow, I'm going to prefer .NET because it is easy for me to build application using the .NET framework, using C# language, and I can as well as I can develop multiple applications. Like I can develop Windows application, web, as well as mobile, and many more. So that's why personally I prefer .NET.
Okay. Thank you. It's like Java, kind of.
Java and .NET comparison, because I'm not good in Java, and whatever it is, Java or .NET, anyhow, you're going to develop an application, and with previously you can say like any of this .NET framework is a proprietary software and Java is completely open source like that. But now with .NET Core, it is completely open source, and where we have, I'm not sure about the Java, about how it evolved. Okay, but regarding a .NET, where you can develop applications for machine learning, and you can do lot of things with .NET.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So .NET Core support Linux OS, right?
Yes.
Okay. What is WPF? What is the
Uh,
use of WPF?
WPF is completely a Windows platform application, and it is basically used to develop a Windows application.
Okay.
As we have ASP.NET for developing a web application, and WPF is to develop the Windows applications.
Okay, thank you. So how .NET Core better than .NET Framework?
.NET Core, as I said, it is using a different base class. Previously, for .NET Framework, Microsoft have used framework class libraries, where now they've evolved those class libraries. They revamped, and they have given a new class libraries called Core FX class library, which is more powerful than an older one, and the performance wise, it's very good comparing to other frameworks. I mean to say, not only a .NET framework, comparing to Node.js, sometimes it giving a greater performance than Node.js, like that.
Okay, thank you. So can you explain the compilation process one more time?
Let me go to that slide. Yeah. So compilation process, as I said, suppose if you're developing application using a C# code, and once your code is done, and you're going to build your application, that time actually what it will do in background, the C# compiler will be used to convert your user readable code into a common intermediate code, like using CLI. Okay, it's what to say. CLI is kind of engine which will convert your code, the compiled code into a somewhat intermediate language, as well as it is called as a managed code, which is understandable for CLR. Okay, so as well as it contains some of the metadata, where metadata is nothing but yeah, added information about your application. Then it also contains framework class libraries, which, as I said, it is kind of a shared libraries across the platform. And this CLI will give a output it kind of intermediate language, as well as it's also called a Microsoft Intermediate Language, or intermediate language. Then the CLR actually it will do the compilation, it will compile your intermediate language into a machine readable code. Okay, using the JIT compiler. JIT is nothing but a just-in-time compiler, which is defined by Microsoft. And with that, your code will be compiled into a machine code. And suppose if you're going to develop a F# code, then it will use F# compiler in initial stage. And while comparing this compilation process with the .NET Core, in .NET Core, the only change is instead of using this language type compiler like C# compiler, or something like Visual Basic compiler, it going to use a common compiler called Roslyn compiler, and other processors similar to what the .NET Framework do. And while coming back to this CLR, instead of using a JIT compiler, it will use Rhine JIT compiler. So that is the only difference, because .NET Framework, that class library, base class library, is completely changed because it need to run in a multiple platform, as well as the compiler also changed because as I said, it need to run in a different platform, like different environment, in Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. That complete runtime will get changed. So based on that, they did some modification in a compiler. Anything, Anbu?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, two more questions. So .NET Core support VS 2019 community. So what is the version of its support?
Excuse me.
So it support 2017, I think 2015.
Anbu, can you repeat?
No, actually someone asking some different questions. So maximum I didn't the question. So he's asking Visual Studio 2019 community. What should be the version of Windows?
Uh,
I mean, I think
Obviously,
.NET Core.
The version.
Yes,
version
.NET
of
Core.
Windows OS, right?
Version. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, Windows OS version. I'm right?
Yes.
Or is .NET
I
Core version?
think so.
I think .NET Core.
Okay, .NET Core, even you can run 1 point, I think 2.1, 2.2, 3, 3.1.
Yeah, okay. Okay, bro. So is that .NET Core is evaluation from .NET Framework?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, okay, bro. So we can go for demo. So no more questions.
Okay. Fine. Okay. We'll get start into the Allow Hold application, and with that, just go into my Visual Studio, and this is the Visual Studio 2019. Basically, if you're new to Visual Studio, what you can do, you can just Google Visual Studio 2019, and in Visual Studio.microsoft.com, you can download the Visual Studio. And here you can see we have multiple edition like community and professional, then enterprise. And I for in learning purpose, I strongly recommend you to use community edition because it's completely open source and free to use. And yeah, this is my Visual Studio, the startup screen. And here you can see like get started. In get started section, I have clone a repository, open a project or solution, open a local folder where and create a new project. And here you can see a cloner repository. It's nothing but where actually you can clone your code from a source controller, different kind of source control like GitHub, Azure, as well as Bitbucket. But Bitbucket initially, what to say, it is not inbuilt, but using an extension, you can still clone it. As and if the version control is Git, you can directly clone the repository, even if it is in GitHub. Sorry, Bitbucket. Then with that, and I'm going to create a new project here. If you click on create a new project, it will open your wizard where you can see a predefined templates like console app. Using this template, you can build a console app for .NET Core, and this is for VB, VB.NET, and Node.js, blank Node.js, and there will be a multiple template. And one thing is like how you will get this template. Initially, while downloading a Visual Studio, you will get into the Visual Studio installer. Okay, so in Visual Studio installer, while installing the Visual Studio 2019, what you will get means you will get a workloads here. So these are the workloads. Basically, based on your requirement, you can choose whatever you need. For example, for my need, I have chosen ASP.NET Web Development and Azure Development, Node.js Development, desktop development, UWP development, mobile development, then .NET .NET Core cross-platform development. Okay, these are the workloads and where you can just select you can just click on installer. Then it will be from an installer, Visual Studio installer, it actually install all your workloads. And once it is done, you can see these templates in our Visual Studio. So I think with this, we are ready to develop our first application. So I'm going to create one console application. Just click on next. Give a name like my project name will be new session, and this is my solution. So what is my solution name? Solution name is nothing but a collection. Sorry, solution is nothing but a collection of project. Okay. Here I can give a different name for my solution. Just given as my new session. Okay. Then click on create. Yeah. So this is my Visual Studio editor, and you can see some of the code is already predefined, and this is my project, and this is my solution. As I said, solution is a collection of project, and right now I have only one project in my solution with one class file called program.js. This is my hello world program, which is already predefined using the template, and just click on this, right click, do right click, and edit project file. There you can notice right now we this target framework is .NET Core App 3.1. As I said, I think someone raised questions like what are the .NET Core version is supported by Visual Studio. I just skipped that step. Let me do one thing. Let me add one more project here just to show my list of supported version here. Oh, sorry. Let me add a web project here. This is my ASP.NET Core web application. Okay, and just clicking on next. Web application demo. Create. So these are the list of template which you can use to develop your web application, and here you can notice the version. What are the versions will be support to develop your web application. Right now I'm using my latest ASP.NET Core version, which is ASP.NET Core 3.1. So with that, I'm just closing this because I need to explain about the console application here before jumping into the web application. So let me remove this. This is my hello world application, and right now you can see I have one class called program, and with one main method, and inside my main method there is a code called console.writeline hello world. Basically what it will do, it will write hello world in a command prompt. Fine. And as I think if in college days you can, while learning a C or C++, the program will always start with the main function, right? It is also applicable for C#. Like so the program will always start with the main function. What I can do here, I can add one more statement here, like console. Okay, while While typing console, you can notice something is listing out here, which is like next possible things what I'm going to do. So this is called IntelliSense in Visual Studio. Where using this, you can greatly increase your productivity. Okay, and here I'm just typing console dot read key. This is my function which is used to just stop my Visual Studio. It's not stopping. It's like hold my Visual Studio to display this message. Hello world. Okay. And right now, what you can do, I just right click on this project and click on open file folder. Here you can see there is one folder called bin debug netcode 3.1. Right now this folder is completely empty. Okay. Now I am going to build my application. Once my build is success, here you can see the DLL file as well as the exe file. Okay, this is basically the process which the CLI will do. Okay, right now these things, I think this project is completely converted into the intermediate language. It's nothing but the DLL, that dynamic linking libraries, as well as this exe file. Okay, so with that, here you can find the run button, which is used to run your application. Just click on this and you can see the output in the command prompt. Hello world. Okay, just close this window. The program is stopped, and meanwhile what you can do, you can also use the exe file to run your console application. Just double click on this and still you can find hello world here. Yep.
Sorry,
This is
Gautam.
the
Sorry
base.
for interrupt. Can I zoom in the code? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And one more information here is like, as I said, .NET Core will use the core libraries. Basically, these are the classes which is coming from the core libraries. While you right click on this and go to implementation, and, sorry, need to use go to definition here because it's not an implementation here. And these are the libraries. This is one of the file console, and here you can find where the libraries are located. Program files .NET Packs, Microsoft .NET Core App 3.1, and my library name is like system.console.dll. So these are the .NET Core libraries which will come with your SDK, .NET Core SDK. Basically, if you're not a Windows guy and still you can download a .NET Core SDK, the standalone SDK, if you're not using a Visual Studio as well. What basically you can do means you can jump into this website .net.microsoft.com, and here you can download a .NET Core. Right now the latest version is .NET Core 3.1, and here you can download the complete Core SDK. This is for Windows, and for Linux you have a separate package, and for Mac OS, as for the Docker containers, you will have a separate package. And with that, I'm just going to jump into my another demo on web application. So guys, if you have any doubt on this application, I think you can raise a question now. Anbu,
Correct,
if there
bro.
is any question, yeah.
Once again, I think I answered few questions, so people are asking some questions.
Okay.
Already answered, so no more question.
Okay. It's good. And okay. Next is our demo. Next demo is on a web application. So right now, what I'm going to do means I'm just going to add a one more application here on my one more project called a web application in the same solution. This ASP.NET Core web application here. Guys, right now I'm using a .NET Core instead of using a .NET framework because I strongly recommend you to just explore a .NET Core, even though if you're not familiar with .NET framework, and you can easily pitch in into .NET Core, okay, without any prior knowledge about .NET framework. Still, if you have, I think this episode will give you an idea about the basics of .NET framework, and with this idea, you can easily pitch into the .NET cores. Okay, and okay, just click on this ASP.NET Core web application. Next, I'm giving my web application name as web application demo app. Click on create. And this is my framework where I can switch between the framework. So I strongly recommend you to explore the .NET Core. Then anyhow, I think I'm just going to use my latest version of .NET Core. And here you will have some of the advanced configuration. Right now, I don't want this HTTPS configuration. And if you need any authentication, even I think for this inbuilt template, you can add authentications. By using this authentication, like it will add some inbuilt code for sign in registration, something like that for your web application. Okay, the complete authentication module will be get added to your application. Okay, so right now I'm not going to add this authentication. With that, uh, I'm just selected web application, which is normally a model view controller, which is right now it is completely famous and trending. Yeah, trending architecture. Then I click on create. And right now, what I'm going to do, I'm not just digging into this code. I'm just leaving for you guys. Basically, you can explore this in depth in final. Yeah, in end of session, I just share you the links where you can explore it more. Okay. And so this is my web application, which is going to have some of the predefined code because it is a template. Okay. And what you can do, see right now in a solution, I have two projects. Okay. And now I need to run this project. For that, just right click on this and select the setters, startup project. Yep. With this, you can find IIS Express. Okay. So here is a couple of things I need to explain before jumping into the web application. See, while running your web application, the important thing is the web server. Okay. So we need a web server to launch the application, right? So basically, Microsoft provides Internet Information Service, which means IIS, as a web server software. Okay, which is created by Microsoft for use with the Windows NT family. And as well as there is one more edition called IIS Express. It is a lightweight version of IIS. Okay, basically this IIS Express will be installed with a Visual Studio, where you can directly launch your application through Visual Studio. Okay, and it's a standalone freeware server where you can download it independently. Right now, you can see while I'm switching from console app to web application, this one has got changed. Like right now, it is using IIS Express to launch my website through web server. Okay, by clicking on this, normally what it will do, it will provide you a host name which is randomly assigned. Yeah, you can notice here, right? Localhost 60555. This is a port, and this localhost is nothing but my machine, the web server, which is actually running this. And here in my taskbar, you can see this IS Express, which is running in the background. Like right now, it is running one website called Web Application Demo App. Uh, and this is my something which is already there in a template, this HTML page. Okay, and with that, I'm just closing this. As well as you can see in project folder, bin, just go to bin debug .NET Core. Here you can see the library file as well as application file here. So which normally CLI do, like it will change your code into an intermediate language, and based on these two information, your CLR will compile into a machine code. And okay, now we have seen what is IIS Express and what is the benefit of using this. With that, what I'm going to explain here now about IIS. IIS is it's a web server software where you can just deploy your web application in Windows OS basically. Normally, this feature is not installed. Okay, we just need to turn on from a control panel. In control panel, just go to programs, and here turn on Windows features on or off. And here you can see IIS, Internet Information Server, and you need to install these things like World Wide Web Service and this web management tool. Click on OK. So with that, you will get this GUI where you can deploy your website. Here, what I'm going to do in this site, in sites folder, just click on that and select add website. Here, we need to provide our site name. Let me give like a test app. And this is the application pool where you need to choose what kind of framework you're going to use. Normally, I have already installed this .NET Core and version 2.2, which is my web hosting version. Okay, and you can see that .NET CLR version is a no managed code and pipeline mode is integrated with this web hosting. And click on OK. And this is my physical path. Okay, so while see, physical path is normally where you need to map your package, your website package. So for that, we need to create our website package, right? What you can do with Visual Studio, you can publish your website here. You can publish your website in Azure, Docker container, folder, FTP, where using FTP, you can push your package to another server, and this web server IIS. Now, basically, what I'm going to do means I'm just going to choose this folder, click on next. Let me change the path where actually my package should located. I'm just selecting IIS deployment. Click on finish. Just to publish. So now your application is going to published. And switching back to that location. Yeah, you can see this complete package. What I'm going to do means I'm just going to create one new folder here. Pasted here and just organized the package. And with that, I'm just going to map my folder here in IIS. And you can assign a HTTP port here. Right now, I'm just giving 80, 78, something like that. I click on OK. And that's it. Now you can browse your application from IIS. Yeah. Now your website is up and running. So by using this IIS now, I don't need to run this IIS Express to launch my website. I just deployed my application in IIS using this interface, and now my application is up and running. And you can access it whenever you need. Yep. And yeah, that's it about a demo. So before going to this survey, guys, do you have any doubts? Anbu, there is any questions?
No, Gautam. Actually, one person asking, so you writing code in C# or .NET? So I answered already.
Okay. So .NET is a framework. It's kind of like the framework itself is developed using some language, programming language, right? And right now I'm just using this C# language to develop my application by using a .NET framework. Okay, this is a purely a C# code. And anything else? Okay. Without with yes, Anbu.
Yeah. Continue. Sorry.
Okay. With that, I'm just going to my next section where I'm showing you the survey which is conducted by Stack Exchange or Stack Overflow. This is
Before that,
something like
before that, one question.
yeah.
So .NET Core support open source, right? So which tool we are using in open source software like Ubuntu OS or Linux OS? So Visual Studio supported.
Yeah. See, one more thing I just need to explain here. Like there is one more tool called Visual Studio Code. Even this editor is completely a open source editor where you can use to develop your application even in Windows, Linux, as well as for Mac. Okay, so this is one of the popular editor in 2019. Okay, which is developed by Microsoft and it is completely open sourced. Is popular in market, and right now I'm using Visual Studio because I'm familiar with Visual Studio. And right now I'm just while going through this survey, I just going to give a short note on this Visual Studio code. So I think you can. It's up to you, like whether you can if you're going with the Linux, I strongly recommend to use this Visual Studio Code instead of Visual Studio. And for Mac OS and Windows, basically it's up to you whether if you're good with Visual Studio Code, you can use it, or else Visual Studio, you can use the Visual Studio Community Edition, which is also a open source one.
Thank you. So one more question. So this is the extreme question. After I am developed ASP web page, how to host in GoDaddy?
Okay. So GoDaddy, fine. Here, what you can do, clicking on this publish, I'm just going to create a new publish profile here. Here you can see FTP and FTPS server. You click on next. Here actually you need to provide your server information. I mean, if you're going to have a server in a GoDaddy, and GoDaddy will provide all this information, you just provide all this information here and configure it, and click on next. It will push all your package to the server, and then you're fine to go. Your application will be hosted in GoDaddy. You can run it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So as I said, this is a survey which is recently conducted by Stack Overflow based on the developer response on the survey pool. So this is the most wanted other framework in market right now. The top is .NET Core, okay, which is overtaken Torch and Flutter. And then other frameworks, library and tools. This .NET and .NET Core is next to Node.js, where 37.4% of people liked .NET and 23.7% of people like .NET Core. Then this is the most loved C# language here based on the developer response. And right now, C# it is in where I think 10th place, right? So rest actually it is in top, and 67% people liked C#. And this is the most popular wanted web framework, where 64.9% of people liked ASP.NET to develop a web application. And the top is React.js. And with that, any questions here? Anything like something like what is the benefit and how to get start? Anbu, any questions?
Still no questions. So we'll
Okay.
wait 2 seconds. One more question, I think it's typical. Visual Studio Code can be able to develop .NET Framework 3.5 project.
Visual Studio Code, right?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, thank you.
You can develop a ASP.NET Core application using Visual Studio Code. And
my question is .NET Framework 3.5. Its support.
.NET Framework 3.5.
Yes. VS Code.
Yeah, see, VS Code is nothing but an editor. Okay.
Yes.
So basically, it should support. Its framework is what to say? It's completely dependent on OS runtime environment. So it's nothing to do with editor.
Thank you. Only one person asking question. I'm waiting for his question. Yes.
Yeah.
asking, I still had that Java task, but Python is now more competitive for it. He's asking different platform.
Mhm. See, guys, I'm just not pushing you to learn .NET, and it is having it is having a great opportunity in the market. It's not nothing like that. It's based on your own interest. So if you have an interest on doing a Python programming, I think it's top in the market, and you can explore that also. And .NET, even .NET also having a good opportunity in this market for .NET developer. And yeah, basically we are not just pushing you guys to do .NET, to learn .NET and all. It's up
Can
to
I?
you.
Yeah, one more question. May you know the job opportunity about the .NET Core in industry? Can you explain little more?
See, .NET Core is right now it's most wanted framework, right? As I as the survey said, like see, is the most loved um, platform .NET Core right now in the market, and as well as for developer. As I said, I am working for a company where we have a lot of application which is developed in multiple platform. Right now, we are migrating all those things into the .NET Core. It's because of demand from our client, and it's also based on the performance of a .NET Core, as well as it's completely a cross-platform, right? Where I can run my application in Linux, Windows, as well as a Mac OS. In different environment, I can run my application. So that's the power of .NET Core, and that's why it is in top of this list. And because it is the most demand platform. And guys, if you know about the .NET Core, and then yeah, lot of opportunity will knock your door based on the current market situation.
Okay, one person asking different question I didn't get. So he's asking, can you please suggest good website in studying C Sharp?
Yes.
So I can prefer docs.microsoft.com.
It's already in my list.
Yes.
So and these are the two websites I frequently visit to learn something regarding a Microsoft technology. That is .net.microsoft.com learn, and docs.microsoft.com and learn.
Okay.
So this is
Finally one
basically,
yes, bro.
second, just go to my Microsoft Learn platform. You just type Microsoft Learn in Google search. You will end up into the website, Microsoft Learn website, where you can explore all the things, all the training modules here. It's completely free, and whatever you need regarding Microsoft technology, you can get all the source. Nothing but learn to program in C#, get started. And guys, it's more than enough. If you're getting started with C# programming or ASP.NET Core programming, something like that. And I think these are the document which is provided in Microsoft Learn is more than enough to explore all the things.
Okay, finally one question. So it's most requested question. So while working with data access, is best to query with link you or lambda expression. So which one is faster?
See, basically what I recommended, and based on my experience compared to ADO.NET, lambda expression or LinkU, it's not faster than that. So lambda expression and See, link you SQL to link you is completely now it is what to say, in .NET Core it is not supporting. Still, entity framework, it's best to use the linked queries instead of going with the lambda expressions. I'm telling this based on my experience, and as well as we noticed some performance improvement while using the linked query over the lambda expressions.
Thank you. Okay, so one fresher asking question. I am fresher. What I want to know?
What I want to know regarding .NET.
Regarding, yeah, maybe IT sector.
So
In IT sector.
in IT sector, see, if you are pitching into IT sector, the basic thing is like you need to learn something like you need to know how to program, and apart from that, it's more important is the problem solving skill. Okay, see, once if you have a good problem solving skill, and you good to go. So after it's you are fresher, right? Then after joining the company, anyhow company will train you whatever based on their need, whether it can be like developing a ASP.NET or a .NET platform applications, or as a Java applications, Python or something else. It, as a fresher, you just need to have a basic problem solving skill,
ఇది
so
ఎప్పుడు
that you
పడుతుంది
can. Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Yeah, continue, Gautam. Sorry.
Yeah. So the basic need as a fresher is nothing but you need to have a problem solving skill. That is the basic skill you should develop, and some programming knowledge, whether it can be a C or C++. It's a basic thing you get to know about that in college, right? So apart from that, you should have a good problem solving skill so that you can easily pitch into the IT world.
Thank you. So finally, one question: .NET Core will support Entity Framework.
Yes, Entity Framework Core.
Entity Framework Core, yes.
Yeah.
So Entity Framework Core, they are using Lambda or some other.
See, basically we are not at all using a lambda expression for a programming right now, and link is completely based on a library. Okay, so even .NET Core library provides you the link queue. Still you can program using a link. Those are all the extension method which is used in a .NET framework will support in .NET Core.
Okay, thank you.
Even a lambda expression also supported, but I strongly recommend people to don't use a lambda expression.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the question is done.
Okay, and you guys, if you have any questions, and you can always reach me, and let me share my email ID. gowthamk91@outlook.com. Okay.
Yes.
Anything else, Anbu? Any new questions?
I think there is no question. It looks like we have covered all of our questions. Yes. Gautam, is there anything else you want to say before wrap up?
Uh, I hope most of the people are in this session. Uh, yeah, college students, right? And
Yes.
they
And
are
Gautam, only
freshers.
one question,
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
and
Yes,
So,
sir.
is there any other querying methods available other than LinkU or Lambda?
querying methods. No.
No.
Yes.
Apart from we are using SQL Server, right?
Yeah, obviously that is backend.
Yes.
So based on querying in code, server code, I think we have only link you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Thank
That's
you,
it.
Gautam. Thank you for
Yes,
giving your
yeah, as
valuable
well as yeah.
practical insights about the web apps. It's really helpful for those who are kickstart in .NET technology. So anything else to say, Gautam?
Yes, it's just for freshers. As I already said,
Yes.
like people, you don't worry about like I should learn about this .NET, Java, so and so, something like that. Because a lot of things will come in the market. Okay, the basic thing is you need as a fresher is like it's a problem solving skill. You should develop that. Okay, so that will be really helpful because whatever platform you can learn it easily. Okay, if you have a good problem solving skill. And with that, I will end up my session. Uh, okay,
Yes.
and thank you all
Thank you, Gautam. Thank you
for
for
attending this session. And yeah, finally, stay home, stay safe, and thank you all.